Well, as the country scrambles to cope with the third wave, the Restaurant Association is asking for mercy. It's calling on government not to restrict their associated businesses any further. Let's discuss this more with Wendy Alberts, the CEO of the Restaurant Association of South Africa. Wendy, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. So, of course, you are worried that these stricter restrictions is going to have a negative impact on the industry.
The conversations are open at this point in time that there will be harder lockdowns happening. And what we're saying to government is, please, we have to actually look at the industries across the board, not only focus on the restaurant industry. You know, every time there is a lockdown or a threat of lockdown, the restaurant industry is the first in the forefront of getting the restrictions put on us. And there are many other industries that don't adhere to protocols and that also have not restricted numbers. So in totality, you know, we're a crippling industry. We certainly saw the bridge of the fall in January. We certainly saw a lot of restaurants and a lot of staff losing their jobs. We've had months to prepare for the third wave, and yet again, lines of communication are not open. There hasn't been adequate preparation for us to move through this next wave of lockdown, and there certainly has been no relief in any which way that's been put forward to us in order for us to mobilise the industry should there be further restrictions put on us. So it is very difficult times. We're very concerned about the conversations taking place at the moment. And we are certainly hoping that there will be no abrupt interruption to our businesses over the next couple of days. And the government certainly has looked at all avenues, that they have certainly looked that we are an industry of integrity and that we do certainly control the spaces that people can enjoy food and dinner, food and alcohol in.
Yeah. So you say government should have been better prepared. How so?
You know, we went through the same stages in December. You know, we knew that there would going to be the festivities, that there would be crowds of people. And we keep trying to control the controlled spaces. We keep trying to look at putting lockdown and restrictions on places where we can advocate responsibility, where we are custodians of liquor licenses, where we can control the numbers, we can practice social distancing and adhere to the necessary protocols as well as the regulations. The minute we shut down industries like ourselves, we open up an illicit trade, we open up a second economy, we take that whole scope down. We lose tax money, we're losing businesses, we're losing jobs, and we certainly put further pressure on our businesses. And we don't have any economical reprieve. At the moment, we're still struggling with landlords, the banks, we're struggling with insurances. The complete pressure on us to be able to pay back debt is massive. And if this threat of lockdown actually hits the industry, it will be the fatality of the industry. A lot of restaurants are still on the borderline of trying to mobilise. We're moving through the wintertime trade. We certainly need to put more pressure overall on the country on complete compliance and adherence to the protocols. We can see it across industries that people are relaxed about the protocols and relaxed about the necessary precautions that need to be taken. We need to work together as a country in order to move through and save the restaurant industry in specific.
You know, many people would ask, what does a 9 p.m. curfew actually mean for this industry? But it is very impactful, isn't it? Because that means restaurants would have to close at 8 p.m. and that has an impact on dinner.
Absolutely. You know, operationally, you know, our businesses are about food and alcohol. It's a combination of an experience that we're able to give in a safe environment where all protocols are obviously adhered to. The second factor is the minute we start cutting time, it means we're cutting dinner time trade, which means it kills off the dinner time trade, which is 70% of the capacity of our turnover. We're really operating at around about 60% of potential in a 100% expense market where there's demands from the banks, the landlords, insurance companies, luxury licenses. We're still trying to get rebates back on liquor licenses, SAMRO, SAMPRA, SABC TV, and the likes of all these eminent luxury licenses to keep our businesses open. We're supporting our staff with UIF and TERS. That money hasn't come through. We're still trying to get those rebates back from October, November, December. There's been no accurate preparation put forward, no discussions about UIF and TERS moving forward. It means that we're going to put further pressure on releasing people, putting people on unpaid time, putting people on unpaid layoffs, and again, further closures of restaurants. We've seen this cycle now for a year. And what we should be doing is looking at ways to look at mobilizing and maneuvering our ways to actually saving restaurants and creating jobs, not taking away the economical reprieve and the balance that we brought over the last couple of months without any efforts. You know, I've said this for 4 months. We're an industry that stands in isolation. We have no support from anybody. We have no financial support. We've had no relief from government. We've had no rebates on any of the taxes. We've had no tax relief in terms of shortfall of payments to be able to keep ourselves afloat. The landlords certainly are very tricky and they're foreclosed and they're cancelling leases. We've got the banks that are taking us to court, the insurance companies who still haven't paid us out. And we just consistently get our businesses interrupted abruptly, which means that we've got stock losses that we can't account for, which means, again, it's typically already a struggling cash flow environment. So it means when we don't get proper notes and we don't get timeous efforts to be able to adjust our businesses or trade off our stock, it means all that money goes to loss, and it just puts further pressure on us and accentuating the critical demands to keep trading through this time.
Yeah, it's totally understandable. I've seen so many restaurants close down because they simply can't keep up with everything that's happened. So let's talk a bit more about the support you have not received from government. Why is that, and have you spoken to the relevant people about possibly coming to the aid financially of this industry?
Look, we've been having these conversations for an entire year about everybody playing their part in the recovery of the restaurant sector. It's very difficult. We're trying to also access the Tourism Enterprise Fund to do transformation. We're trying to receive some funds. We're looking abroad to get other funding in. And we should be working hand in hand with the Minister of Tourism. We should be working hand in hand with hospitality and the sector in totality. But because we cross scope over different ministerial divisions, it makes it very difficult because we don't have a Minister of Hospitality. So what that means for us is that we knock on the door for Minister Patel with liquor licenses. The curfew goes through to a different division, health, labour, etc. So we're not housed under one separate ministerial division to be able to get relief. And now, obviously, there's also been a shift with the Minister of Tourism moving over to the Department of Health. So it leaves us with a massive gap and a leader that needs to be placed in that position for us to be able to have these conversations to get recourse that needs to be done. And what we've said time and time again, which we've seen through every level of lockdown, the minute they shut down the restaurant industry, it doesn't stop the spread of COVID because people continue to do shopping in shopping centres, retail continues to trade as normal, beauty, health, hygiene, all the rest of things just continue as it is. And we obviously take the repression and we take the curve and the cutoff. And we're the only business that has to remodel itself because of the constraints. And what we have learned is that by restricting the curfew, it doesn't limit the amount of people to go and have off-site parties or to socialise off-site. People still want to do it. And I think what we need to do is have tighter restrictions on people adhering to all the protocols across all industries. Yeah. We need to speed up the vaccination process. We certainly do need to allow businesses to economically survive through this difficult time unless there's been proper and adequate preparation. We also can't have cross messages over the different industries about on-con and off-con. We're a sit-down establishment. There's control within our businesses. We have custodians of liquor license. We have barmen. We're able to understand what is happening in the fractionality of our businesses. Yeah. The minute a bottle is left from a bottle store, we have no recourse of what happens or where that alcohol goes, or to be able to control those environments where alcohol is served. For us, we have got the necessary protocols, and we've always supported government in our attempts to create the integrity that we've got, that the restaurant industry is built on. And I think it speaks volumes for South Africa, who loves our industry so much and is always supporting us in the end to keeping our doors open. So always a grateful thanks to the patrons who love our industry so much.
All right. Thank you so much for your time, Wendy Alberts, CEO of the Restaurant Association of South Africa.